What is up, everyone? So in this video we are doing a overview of a beautiful guitar. Okay, and this is the Ernie Ball Music Man Silhouette. This is the original silhouette. It's not the special model, even though this one features a SSS configuration, which is typically found on the Silhouette Special later on in the production years. This is one of the first. This one is made in 1991, okay? And does not have the original DiMaggio single coil pickups. It's being upgraded to, I think it's called Joe Barden vintage Strat pickups. And I do not know how old are those pickups, but I do know they actually sound great when I actually plug it into my amp and try to do some test tones, okay? The cool thing about those Joe Barden is it's a single coil. However, it's got two blades. It's got dual blade. So even if you crank the volume up, it doesn't have any noise. And also cool is that this is a hardtail. It does not use active circuitry. So if I flip the guitar to the back, you can see how beautiful the back of this guitar is, okay? It's beautiful. Like, I love hardtails. There are no messy electronic components. There are no plastic, covers, whatever. It's just strings on the back. And this one uses a swamp ash body, okay? So it's extremely lightweight, and which I think definitely adds to my liking to this guitar. This is so far, I've had quite a lot of guitars in the past, but again, I'm still a very beginner when it comes to guitar playing. I do love beautiful things. That's why I got this one, and it cost quite a lot for me. And this one was sold in the United Kingdom, and I found it, I bought it, and had it shipped to USA. I had to pay a hefty import duty for it as well as signing a very weird form confirming that there are no weird chemicals in making of this guitar, which is, it took a while, but it did get to me in beautiful condition. So I'm very grateful that now I have this guitar. I'm doing this overview is because I want to make this guitar even better by upgrading some of the original components to fairly modern standards, as well as changing its appearance just a little bit to my liking. So what you see here is the tuning keys. This is a locking tuning key, newest version that's released by, I don't know what this company is called, Schaller, whatever it is, but this is the new locking tuning key with the pearl buttons. It's beautiful, and the reason I went with pearl is it can further reduce the weight as compared to a chrome tuning buttons, okay? Now, I also got what is the original cap on this guitar. This guitar has been upgraded to this nice, aluminum, polished aluminum, very grippy button or knob. But I do like a black looking knob to go with the black Joe Barden pickups, as well as this black switch. This is a 5-way switch, so you got quite a lot of tone variations. You have, this one, combined. Okay, so that's quite nice. But with the black, I think it goes really well with this look of the guitar overall. And also with the locking tuners, it's gonna stay in tune. It's gonna be easier to tune, and it's gonna reduce some weight as well, at the same time making it look more classic, right? Okay, I already said swamp ash body, and this one only weighs 6 pound 4 ounce, so it's extremely lightweight. And the guitar is very resonant. Like, you just ring a string and it rings forever. So I was really impressed by the sound that came out from this guitar with the guitar that's just so lightweight. It's, it changed my mind. When before I look for guitars, I always look for a elder body guitar because it resonates so well. but this Swamp Ash just resonates just as well, and it's much lighter. Okay, so if you're looking for a lightweight guitar, definitely give Swamp Ash wood a serious consideration. We're just going to take a quick look at the back and appreciate the beauty of the back of this guitar. Again, Swamp Ash, two-piece construction, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's American made right here at where? St. Louis Obispo, California. Made in USA. And again, those are the original made in West Germany Schaller non-locking tuners. I tried to tune this guitar and I kind of feel like this non-locking tuner has worn out, you know, somewhat. It doesn't turn as nicely. So I'm hoping that the new locking tuner would tune much better. Okay. This guitar does look like it's being played. However, when I bought it, whoever is selling it did give it a little restoration. I see the frets are actually leveled and kind of polished just a little bit. So they're not as tall as what I would imagine what the original frets are like. This is a 22 fret guitar, by the way. And you have those black dot inlays in between the frets. I mean, they are very functional. They just doesn't look, you know, it doesn't look crazy. This guitar, it just screams for vintage beauty or like natural beauty kind of a feeling. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think, okay? But I also do love this silhouette shape. It's very, very comfortable. It's carved around all the edge very beautifully. Again, this is a vintage guitar, keep that in mind. So back then, they were not thinking too much about ergonomics, but this guitar already went ahead of its time and did carve out all the areas that needs quite a lot of carving. Okay, so right here near your hips, it's very nicely carved as well. So it's really thin over here. This area, again, this is a very early model silhouette, so it was not shaped. The newer models, obviously, is going to be even more comfortable for reaching higher frets. But this one, even though it's not curved, everything is rounded up. So it's still extremely comfortable by just holding it there. And I can still reach the higher frets without any issues. So if you're looking for that extreme comfort, you might want to look at a newer model silhouette, which had those curved neck joint. I'm sorry, curved, yes, neck joint, whatever it is. So yeah, and original plate just looks nice. It does look like, again, it's being refurbished and then polished a little bit. I don't mind that. The paint is kind of a clear, like a clear polyurethane coat. It's kind of hard, but the coat over here is kind of softer, clear coat. You're gonna have some resistance when you're sliding on the neck if you have a sweaty hand like mine. So that's probably the only downside I'm gonna complain about is this neck. I kind of wish it's kind of unfinished or maybe finished in a more satin material so my sweaty hand would glide easier. But if your hand is not sweaty, I don't think it's any issue at all. So this is the back, okay? And looking at the neck joint over here, I do see a very, very slight hairline crack over here on the coat, but it's very hard to see in the pictures, but it is there. So I don't think any guitar would escape that reality that the neck joint with pressure applied, some of them is gonna have that hairline crack. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And again, you have the mounting point for the strap at the top. And again, this guitar is just curved all over for easy playing and comfort. And when I hold it, you know, on my lap, in my hand, it's very, very comfortable. Okay, so give you a detailed look. So again, this is a silhouette, non-special version, but it's early release before they introduced the special. So it's silhouette with a triple single coil mount. And you can tell the difference between the special silhouette and regular silhouette by the mounting screws over here. So with the special version, which I think they had the humbucker configuration as well, They kind of optimized the position of those pickups a little bit, and they also used more screws on the left side of this area. So you can see 4 screws for the special version and 3 screws for the traditional silhouette non-special. So if you're getting a replacement faceplate for that, just keep that in mind as well, okay? And give you guys a look at this bird's eye maple one-piece neck. Okay, it's literally one piece. There's no cutout, no gluing. It's just one piece. And it's bird's eye maple, so they're not as durable as, say, a traditional maple with no bird's eye, or even flame maple for that reason. Like, this is a flame maple. I'm gonna show you guys really quick. On my DY70, this is solid flame maple. I don't think this one is gonna be as durable even compared to a flame maple. However, it doesn't really matter because, again, I'm a beginner. I play very occasionally, and it just looks really nice. One piece, okay? It's a one piece with no gluing, cutout. Everything is one piece on this neck, okay? Unless you guys tell me otherwise, I do not see any joints. So this is something special, okay? You don't see this like in nowadays. They usually use 2 pieces to join the neck and the head, and also glue the fingerboard in the front. But this is everything one piece. Some unfortunate, imperfections is here. It looks like some paint got chipped off. The clear coat got chipped off, so the underside is exposed. If I want to fix it, I'll probably just sand it and apply some clear coat. It would probably match up with the rest of the look, but I'm just gonna let it go and leave it there. Other than that, this guitar is pristine. I don't really see any other imperfections on this guitar. Barely any. And the texture of the swamp ash is just beautiful. I'll give you guys a close-up. Okay. You can see that the grain is running through. You can see some of the difference, the variations in the texture. It really adds to the character of this guitar. And obviously, there looks like there's a sticker there. It's been on for a while. They removed the sticker. So that's the original color of the swamp ash before it's aged and being exposed to the environment. I think the aged look is way better than what the original look looks like, okay? And, okay, look at the headstock. So I give you guys a overview, and then I'm going to strip this guitar. I'm not going to remove the neck, but I'm going to strip and take off the tuners. Okay, I also have some bridge saddles for this because I'm going to replace a bridge saddle as well. The bridge saddle is original. It does look beautiful. However, it's very pitted. And when I was trying to tune the guitar, it just doesn't tune. It just doesn't sound nice. And I'm thinking it's probably because of those rusted and pitted tuners over here. So I'm going to just save those, and I'm going to put out a set of aftermarket tuners that I bought from Amazon. This is the polished stainless steel tuner saddle bridge. Comes with tools, and it only costs 15 bucks. So it's like super cheap. We're going to just try to play around with this. If it doesn't work out well, I'm going to just try to, restore the original saddles a little bit and put the original back on. And then look at the original guitar before I do any kind of modification. Okay, so there you go. And if you want to look at a side profile, I'm going to switch this to the side. Just look at how beautiful this guitar looks from all angles. So this is the silhouette. This is the original silhouette with a square neck. Okay, keep that in mind. Look at how nice this area is finished. Just look at those curves, okay? It's beautiful. All right, this is the neck area, beautifully finished, very well jointed. And the input jack, let's see if I can show you guys with one hand. The input jack is right here. And what's nice is they use a plate to secure the input jack. So it's very well secured in there. It's not gonna move around like, say, if you just directly mounted this onto the wood, it will be a little tough, but they do use a plate, so this is really nice. And this guitar just looks great from all angles. There's no bad angle to this silhouette. Neck is adjusted through a very easy to adjust mechanism over here at the bottom of the neck. So no tools required, just, you know, a stick, whatever, hard stick. But that's it. All right, guys, so here is the guitar and on my workbench slash desk. And I used a towel on the bottom to protect the guitar from being scratched. And we'll go ahead again to do those 3 modifications that I said I'm going to be doing. The bridge saddle, the tuners, and the knobs. I think we're going to do the knobs very last because it just requires a hex wrench to remove or loosen it and put the new caps on. I have all my tools right next to the guitar. So I think what I'm going to do very first is actually get the tuners replaced. And then we can tackle the bridge. So first thing first, I'm probably going to just loosen the strings. I don't know if I can reuse the string. We can give it a try. Maybe try to reuse the string on the locking tuner. That might be, you know, one solution. So I'll try not to destroy the strings when we're loosening it and trying to remove it, okay? So I'm just going to use a power tool to turn it. And I'm trying my best not to damage the strings so I can still later reuse the strings. Now the hardtail, the advantage is it's very easy to pull out, like so. But you can see the string gets a lot of tension at certain areas, so do keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so I'm going to save the string somewhere. So all the strings are out, and this would be the perfect time to do a general clean, polish it up, and before we continue with the rest of the project, okay? To remove the locking tuners, you will need a socket wrench for the top, as well as some really fine screws to unlock those small screws here, okay? All right, I'm back. Got my socket wrench. Now this is just a mini set. So all those tools can be readily available on Amazon. So if you need to buy one of those, I should have some links in the description on where to get those socket wrench. It's a size 10. Usually for the tuners, it's a size 10 socket wrench to actually loosen them. Okay, so it looks like this, all right? Once you have this socket removed, they should all just pop out fairly nicely. See if I can zoom in for you guys. Let's see. Like so. And they seem to be in a very nice condition. There are no rust or corrosion on those screw sockets. Now, you can see those washers are kind of loosened, so we need to get rid of those and take them out, save them for later. This is the brand new locking tuner. It's probably going to be similar installation process before, you know, putting it in and take it out, except this one have a locking head. That would be like the only difference over here, okay? So let me just go ahead and finish with removing everything. I'm going to turn this around. All right, nicely folding out. The rest of the thing is just secured by that little tiny screw on the back. Okay, so we're gonna now save those to the side and remove that little tiny screw on the back. You need a fairly small set of screwdrivers to remove it, and I don't think they're going to be under a tremendous amount of tension. Yep, fairly easy. Just don't strip it because you want the screw to go in nicely one more time, right? Okay. All right, and they should be able to come out one way or the other. And it might need a small knock. So let me find a small hammer of some sort. Don't really have a hammer. Let's see if I can just use one of those soft blow kind of a thing, kind of just to knock it out. Let's see if it actually comes out. Nope. Okay. Looks like a gentle twist would actually get them out. And I'm just going to twist it gently. Hopefully, all of them, just with a small twist, they would actually nicely come out. Like so. There we go. Yeah, just use some softer material, knock it if it doesn't move, and they will come out really nicely, right? So here we go. All right. So this is the original non-locking tuners from Schaller that's made in Germany. I am going to keep those and of course either resell them or save them for resale of the guitar. I don't think I'm going to be reselling this guitar anytime soon. But if you look closely, the color in here are the original color before this guitar got, nicely aged as time went by after 30 years. So originally it's, fairly dark, fairly faint, white colored maple. Now they're darker. Before I go further with installing the new tuner, I'm gonna just recondition the fretboard just a little bit and clean this area. So when the new thing puts on, I don't have to clean it again. So I'll be right back. All right, so right now I'm pretty much just using some tea tree oil to just kind of condition the fretboard as well as a headstock, as well as cleaning out some of the dirt on the fingerboard. Okay. And as you can see, it's pretty dirty. So a general clean is probably much needed and appreciated by this guitar. All right, so looks much better now. Let me wipe this dry. And we should be ready to actually install the brand new locking tuners, right? How about, yes, let's get the locking tuners installed, and then we're gonna be removing the original saddle on here. One step at a time, okay? So locking tuners are not cheap. They are at about $30 each. So in total, $180. But I think, again, it is worth every cent, especially if you're going to be having this guitar for a very long time, right? And you get the same locking ring, you get the same washer, Okay. And basically you just align things and push it in and use a screw set on the back to lock it. Let's see. I'm gonna flip this and see. Okay, so we're gonna align the holes and kind of just twist it in there. Perfect. Try the new screws. They do seems to go in the same thread pattern, so that's quite nice. Perfect. Wow, I can't believe how easy it is to change the tuners. Much easier than I thought. And the next step, of course, is putting this washer in, align it, drop it in. Now, this is where I run into a little issue because it does not go all the way in. It does not align as nicely as I thought. Let's try a different one. All right, guys, so what I had to do is I need to find my plastic hammer, okay, plastic and rubber, and I'm using this new washer which had a little edge in here that digs into the wood. I have to kind of just knock it, give it a little extra force, knock it down in there before I can install the actual tuner. Okay, so that's what I had to do. And I'm just gonna do the first one I did it off camera. The second one I'm gonna do it on the camera, so you know how I'm trying to do it, okay? You just have to knock to make sure that all the surrounding edges sits in there really nicely, so it does not move, right? And then we can go back to here and add the tuners and align the tuners. The shape of the new tuner is actually different. It's different than the old tuner, right? So the old tuner is much more larger and bulky. Let's try to find the right tuner to show you guys right here. The old tuner is this shape. The new tuner is much more slim. So there are some areas that are kind of like the old shape that's kind of exposed. And also the angle of the new tuner is different. The angle is like this. So that's a difference. So we just have to cope with that and have a little area exposed on the back of the guitar, unfortunately from the new update, right? So again, same process. I'm just gonna drop it in there, gets everything aligned, and probably give it a good knock. And using the screw everything back in there, okay? Right, so once you have this installed, we're gonna go back to the front and use this to further lock it. So actually, I'm not gonna actually fully tighten it because it's still gonna move around a little. I'm just gonna put the screw in there. I'm gonna tighten the front locking nut before I tighten the back all together. Okay, all right, let's see. So let's go to the front. Gonna drop this into the front. Try to show you guys a better angle. Let's see. All right. And of course, you need your 10mm socket. Not a lot of force. You don't want to crush the wood, but enough so that it doesn't move around. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And actually, the string sits pretty low in this hole here, So just keep that in mind. And again, I'm going to do the other one. Now, once you finish first one, the rest is pretty straightforward and easy, right? All right, so I just got all the rest of the tuner washers installed. And the last step is dropping everything, just like the first two tuners, and we should be done. Let's see. Now, in terms of weight, the two old and new are fairly comparable. Okay, so there's that. It's not gonna have much weight reduction, but this Perloid definitely looks very nice and classy. And very last step, go back here and properly tighten all the 4 set screws. And the installation is complete. Okay, so this is all it needs to for tuning the guitar, and this one definitely feels a lot tighter, but I think that tightness is adjusted by the other screw on the side. Let's see. Yeah. So you can make it really tight, or you can make it really loose. It really depends on how tight you're tightening this washer nut over here. And this one is definitely too tight. Okay, so that feels about right. You just want to make sure that all the tension on all those nuts are about the same. So when you adjust, it does feel even and balanced. Those nuts are pretty loose, so we can tighten it just a little more. So this is definitely like a balancing act. You don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose. Now all the knobs feels about the same tension. We could just move on with the rest of the project, okay? A close up. Very, very nice. Now it's locking, and the cool thing is this is an updated version, so it's got a smaller knob. However, this knob is very, very grippy, so you're able to actually have a very good grip on the small knob and locking the tuner in the front very nicely. Later on, we can give it a try, but we're gonna move on to the next stage of restoration, which is actually get those bridge saddles removed and replaced. The bridge saddle, as I said, I used a generic one with a 1.8 millimeter gap or saddle length, which is standard for the Strat, which I find out is also the same for the MusicMan. So if you're in doubt and you don't want to spend $60 for a steel saddle from MusicMan, you can just get the $15 one with 10.8 millimeter length, width on Amazon and save yourself some money, right? So let's see. A hex wrench. So I need to find out which size hex wrench it is, because you have to unscrew it all the way. And you can't really use this side to turn because it hits the guitar. So you just have to be careful and do it, slowly. And what I would suggest is replacing one at a time. So everything should still be relatively in order and also relatively same in terms of height compared to the original one, right? So this is a saddle, almost out. And it's definitely rusted and pitted. The new saddle is also using a Phillips screw head, which I think is going to be easier compared to the hex wrench. The Phillips, you can have a longer Phillips screwdriver and just turn it from really far away and still be able to do a full turn. So it might be to its advantage. Let's find out. It's really dirty. I'm going to do a cleanup. All right, what am I doing? So the spring is supposed to be on the other side. I don't know what I'm doing. You're going to catch the spring here and then use the saddle to pull everything back. So you're going to apply quite a lot of tension just to get the spring thing installed. Let's see. Or not. I think it should still work because judging by the length, there are plenty of length for me to play around with. But I think on some of the springs, I might have to use the original spring, which is a little bit longer, to get it working on the middle, or like on the high E, and I can't remember, the D string maybe? Yeah. So on some of those, I might need to modify the spring just a little bit to get more tension. Let's get the height up so it's aligned with the rest of the guitar. Let's see. Looks like the height adjustment is going to work for sure. No issues there. I'm able to just quickly get it to the height originally set like before. All right, guys, you know, what's nice about upgrades is I also have the chance to actually open up the body and do a full cleaning, a vacuum of all the nasty dust inside the chamber. What I also found out is that this chamber is also gutted. So they cut out extra materials to make this body lighter. That's why this body is full ash, swamp ash, but it's only 6 pounds and 5 ounces light. It's because the body, for most part, is chambered. What is also nice is I also had the opportunity to remove the pickup assembly. And the nice thing about MusicMan pickup assembly for the Silhouette is they use a quick disconnect. So it's like super easy to just get the whole piece out and do a proper clean. The rocker switch, as I told you before, it was corroded. I just WD-40'd it a little bit, and right now it's looking like brand sparkling new. Except some cat hair that I got in there. But yeah, look at that. So besides the sloppy soldering job over here, I think this pickup cover is actually very, very nicely designed and mounted. The pods are, I believe, USA made pods. They do not have any kind of logo on there, but it's a nice big pod and very easy to turn. And you know, if it needs update, I'm sure there are replacement parts readily available. The seller said this is Joe Barden pickups, so I just have to take their words for it because there are no indication or the brand on those pickups, so we would never know. So that's up for discussion, right? But all right, let me just get the angle down a little more. But it's nice that I have the opportunity to also just restore this guitar a little bit, make the rocker switch nice and clicky, and remove all the oxidation behind. And now, when I'm ready to put it back, the cool thing with those quick disconnect is I can just literally pop those two together. Let's see. And voila, that's it. And I can rest this back on there and just align everything. And boom, that's it. Look at how beautiful this guitar is. really one of the most beautiful guitar that I've seen. Again, I've had probably 8 or 9 electric guitars in the past a year, and this one I do not want to sell it. I just want to keep it. Okay, so that's why I'm giving it a spa treatment and all the upgrades that it needs, so it can perform nice and it can last for a long time. Now I'm getting all the bridges out. I'm just gonna install all the bridge and yeah, get everything put back together and get this pod maybe changed out. See if I have the appropriate knobs for it. So the old knob, obviously it's being squished and it's not taking the original knobs because it's being squished. So I either have the option of, let's see, popping it back out and risk damaging the knob, or I'll probably unfortunately just put those knobs back on there and try not to upgrade the new knob and maybe sell this knob to someone else who needs an upgrade. But it's kind of pity because I really love this this vintage look, and also it's gonna save a lot of weight on this guitar, right? Yeah, never mind. That's a pity. So the third upgrade I cannot do because it's just too loose. I'm gonna put those knobs back on there and call it a day. All right, now as me closing the pickup cover, I just need to update you guys on a few things on this guitar. That first thing first is I'm not able to switch those knobs out because those knobs are actually not original, and also the little tip that's catching those knobs are actually damaged from previous seller trying to install those metal knobs. So as I put the new knobs on there, they just don't sit as well unless I glue it on there, but I don't want to. So I'm gonna scratch the vintage knob upgrade ideal. Just look at how good it is, you know, paired with Joe Barden pickups. Sadly, we're gonna have to stay with chrome. But also this knob actually, the prong broke, so I have to use a super glue to glue the broken piece off back on there, have it dry, and then re-put this knob on there. So this is kind of like a makeshift knob that's kind of locked for now on there, but I think eventually if things has to be done properly, the entire pod needs to be replaced with a better quality or a high quality pod on both of those. So maybe then those knobs could be reinstalled back on there, but for now we have to settle with the original aftermarket knob. The plus side is the switch, the 5-way switch. I have completely restored it, and now it's just like super clicky and tactile, and all the rust and oxidation on it is all gone. Also over here on this bridge, right? It's also, even though it's pitted, I cleaned it off, oiled it, and removed the rust. Now the bridge looks to be in a fairly good condition. So that's also the plus side. And again, the remaining thing for me to do is get all the rest of the bridge saddle installed, and we can try, and fingers crossed, hopefully those saddles would give a good intonation as to the this particular guitar. And if it doesn't, I will have to actually remove those and then buy the original MusicMan steel saddles, put it on here, and give it another try. So this is kind of a midway update, and again, I'm going to come back once I finish installing all the bridge saddles, and we're going to just restring it and do a tone test really quick and see whether the upgrade did its job. So I'll see you guys in the next section. All right, folks, so I finally finished restoring this beautiful MusicMan silhouette. This is a vintage one from 1991. And so originally I planned for 3 upgrades. the tuners, which I'm able to successfully complete the upgrade to a locking tuner with perloid knobs. And the bridge saddles, I was able to use a very affordable Amazon $15 saddle set that was for the Strat, which is 10.8 millimeter bridge saddles. That's solid steel. And it's able to be used on here without any issues, so I'm really happy about that. Otherwise, I'd have to spend $60 at MusicMan store to buy it and replace it, but this saved me a lot of money. And I also bought genuine MusicMan knobs. However, I was not able to replace those knobs because the prong that's used to catch the knobs was kind of broken by those aftermarket knobs that the previous owner had put on there. Those knobs gets locked with a screw in here. They overly tightened the screw, so both of those knobs are no good. The next time I'm able to upgrade is probably when I replace those potential meters inside. Once I get that replaced, they have the new handles, and I'm able to put the original the original knobs back. But otherwise, I think it works. I had to use some super glue over here to grab it, and but for now, our settle is this steel or polished chrome knob. It's very, very heavy. I was thinking about using a plastic knob to reduce weight, but again, this guitar is already super lightweight at 6 pounds, I think 5 ounce. So super lightweight. And the upgrade is complete. And I also showed you guys the internals, when we flipped back and showed the chamber is actually cut out, and they dug out additional areas to reduce weight, which I think is kind of cool. But other than that, yeah, really nothing to complain about. This locking tuner from Schaller is great. I was, playing around with the strings, kind of playing hard on the strings, and it just able to keep the tone very, very nicely. Granted, this is not a tremolo, so I don't foresee it go out of tune that often, and I don't bend that much since I'm a super beginner. But again, appreciate this beautiful swamp ash back on a hardtail. No ugly plastic cutouts here, so that's very nice. The cutout in the front looks very classy. I also love that. Keep in mind, this is the original silhouette. This is not the silhouette special, which featured HSH and I think SSS configuration. But the silhouette special usually have 4 screws on this side. This is the original silhouette with SSS. So kind of unique and kind of hard to find, and also in this beautiful natural swamp ash finish. So I'm gonna actually flip over to my makeshift studio area in the back, and I'm just gonna show you guys some of the tones that this Joe Barden, this is called dual blade pickups. It's pretty much a miniature version of a humbucker, but they designed this to produce the Strat sound without the 60 hertz humming. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate to you all the neck, middle, and bridge pickups, and you can get an idea on what kind of sound you can get from this Joe Barden pickup set. Okay, so see you in the next section. All right, guys, so I have this guitar restored, and now I'm in front of my amp. I want to give you guys just a few different tone tests from a non-musician's perspective. At least I give you some chords so you can hear each different pickup is going to produce a kind of slightly different tone variation. The cool thing about this silhouette is it's got a 5-level switchblade, so it's able to split those 2 coils. And as you know, this is a dual blade coil, so it's like a small humbucker. When you split those, you are getting a single coil setup. So keep that in mind. And for this, I'm going to just keep the tone knob somewhere at 8, because I usually don't change the tones. I usually just crank it up pretty high. And the volume right now is at probably 90%. And I'm using my Line 6 DT50 tube amp. It's a hybrid amp. I've got 2 channels. I'm using it right now in 25 watt mode. So it's kind of like half output for this tube amp with a 12-inch speaker that's built in there, Celestial speaker, I think. All right, so let's just get started. This is neck only. And again, just some simple chords for you guys to hear. So that's neck, clean tone also. And I'm gonna switch to the in-between. You can hear it canceled that hum, so which is kind of interesting. But the volume also dropped 50%, so that's probably why. That's combined neck and middle. Now I'm going to go to the middle. Same thing, same chords. You can hear the middle is the most twangy sound that this guitar is able to produce. Okay. And I'm going to go to the middle and the bridge. This middle and bridge produces a very glassy sound on the clean tone. Okay, so now we go to the bridge and bridge only. The pickup on this bridge, the output is actually the highest out of all 3 pickups here. Okay. Now in terms of the sound, I think the bridge is pretty similar to the neck. Go to the neck. Slightly more glassy compared to the neck, but I think they sound very similar without any modifications on the amp, of course. Right? So that's all the combinations possible on the clean tone, and we're gonna go distorted so you guys can hear what this sounds like with a dual blade single coil pickup style. With it distorted, I'm going to use the full output. So, alright, so now we're going to actually just try it on the distorted sound. I already switched my amp to the distortion channel, and I use full power output. And right now I have the volume cranked about, again, 50% on 50 watt tube amp. And over here, I have the option to go really loud. But again, this amp is like way overkill for my tiny studio. So I'm just gonna do it the best I can to demonstrate to you guys what it sounds like. Okay. It is able to produce that distortion. And again, this is neck. Okay. Try the middle. In between neck and middle. This is the middle. on the dirty channel, it does perform, you know, fairly well with minimal amount of humming. I think the humming is still more than a traditional humbucker setup, but it is not as bad as a single coil, a true single coil. Right? So this guitar, I would say it's pretty versatile in terms of the kind of sound that you want to produce. And you know, it screams, and it also can be played very quietly. So I think it's a very versatile guitar to think about. And I have to mention that the craftsmanship on this guitar is worth the money that you're going to be spending, because I've seen or I've owned many budgets and the guitars, and when you take those guitars apart, you can tell the amount of attention that they've put into making this guitar, you know, the best way possible. And this one is vintage. Like nowadays, I think the quality still remains the same. It's gonna be a very high quality guitar, American-made MusicMan, so you can never go wrong with a MusicMan. That's just my opinion. And so yeah, if you guys have any questions about this guitar, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below, and I hope you found this video helpful. Now, I apologize that I can't give you guys a musical demonstration, but I hope those chords is enough to illustrate to you how versatile this guitar is, and also how easy it is to upgrade the components you want on this guitar. Some of the options are also very budget friendly, okay, right? So the saddle is only you know, 15 bucks compared to the $60. But I think it's most important to spend money on a quality locking tuner, because it looks nice and it works great, and it makes your guitar stay in tune like forever. In terms of the pickup, I got this with the Joe Barden already upgraded on here, and I think it's a great complement to this guitar, and I guess kind of the learning style that I'm going for, which is more clean sound. But they do have option for HSH, so if you want to go heavy distortion, you know, or a Strat style guitar with a distinctive shape of the MusicMan silhouette, you can never go wrong on this guitar. So there you have it. Make sure to subscribe, because eventually I'm going to have more guitars on hand as I collect and restore, and I'm hopefully be able to demonstrate to you guys with more tones on each of those different guitars. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.